What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Chris Akin Presents with myself, Chris Akin, and the maestro of rat, sorta, Mr. Erik Ferentinos.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Chris.
What is up, sir? How are you?
I'm doing quite well. Just returned from Balboa Park, San Diego with my lady.
Look at you.
Did a walkabout, as they say in Canada.
So you're going to fall asleep now doing this?
No, I feel good, man. And I got my pressed Stephen Piercy coffee over here.
There you go.
So I'm rip-roaring to go. Got
Very
my fitness ring closed today.
Oh.
On my iPhone, which is important for everyone.
Dude, you're fit. What does that mean? Does that mean that you walked enough steps or something?
Correct.
That means?
Yeah, it's a fitness ring. It measures your steps, and you could set it, to mellow or moderate or heavy.
Yeah.
And I had it to moderate. We don't have to go crazy here.
Yeah. Well, I got my fitness hula hoop on, and it's
AKA girdle.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It says I'm quite not fit. But, whatever. I mean, dude, that's good. That's good, especially you who had the heart attack. It's good that you're out there fucking hoofing it around and keeping in shape and making yourself lovely for the Stephen Piercy shows, right?
Got to do it. Got to do it. We just played this past weekend.
Yeah, how'd that go, man?
It went pretty well. The Whiskey, a go-go Hollywood, where it all started for Stephen. So it's always special for when he comes back there. And pretty much just a business as usual gig. Had a few friends come up. Mark Torian. I don't.
Is he Torian or Tureen?
God damn it! He's my friend too, and I'm like at that point in the friendship where I'm afraid to ask him.
Right.
It's like too much time's gone by, and you all look stupid if I say it now. So somebody please let us know.
Dude, here's let me tell you how you ask that. I'll tell you. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'll tell you how you ask him. You tell him that you were watching another show and you heard the two hosts saying it differently. And you can blame me if you want. Blame me and Neely. Just say, yes, watch a classic metal show. One guy called you Tureen, the other called you Torian. Which is it?
Right.
I'm not sure
think
now.
What happened was it started out one way. I could swear he has said it's Torian. He says Torian. But no one says it that way. No one else in the world.
Right.
But I thought maybe he changed it later. I thought maybe he changed it later to be cheeky.
Yeah. You know what, dude? Dude, there's a couple of these guys out there that I would swear they said it was one way and then they did change it. Like, and he's one of them, because I would swear that Neely has a bumper of Mark saying, hey, it's Mark Torian of the Bullet Boys. Mm-hmm. And then I would swear also, in fact, I know this to be true. I interviewed him on not the last album that they just put out, but the one before it. And he did another bumper for me. And it was, hey, it's Mark Tureen.
Okay. This is a Mandela effect. I heard about this.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the Mandela effect?
No, not at all.
Okay. It was based off of Joseph Mandela, a situation where many people had thought he died much years earlier than he had. So when it was announced that he died, everybody flipped out and was like, oh, there's something wrong with the time-space continuum.
Right.
They've opened up a hole in the universe and now everything's messed up. And then like all these things have been changing, if you will,
right,
over the years. There's a bunch of famous ones. You can look up the Mandela effect and a bunch will come up. There's Star Wars ones where he said, apparently he never said, Luke, I am your father. He never said that. He never said it like that. He said it a different way.
Okay.
Weird stuff like that. Excuse me. Let me think of an didn't know we'd be talking about it. I would have researched a little more for you to throw,
who knew?
Some other good ones. But it's that premise, basically, that things are getting changed. Oh, the Bernstein Bears.
Yeah.
And the Bernstein Bears. Like that's been changed.
Okay. Well, you know who else has been changed? Terry from XYZ. Used to be Ilois. Now he's a loose. don't know why. I don't know why. I do know that at one point he corrected me for calling him Eluse, and now he calls himself Eluse.
Well, I think from now on you should be CHRIS, and I should be Erik.
Yeah, I'll be Christ. I'm good with Christ. In fact, you just call me Christ for long. I'll just be the full Christ. Why not? It's all good to me. Well, dude, we are good. Go ahead.
That was bad as my amp blew up towards the end of the show. I was kind of bummed on
Really?
that. Yeah, it was something I see. We do so many flyouts that I don't really use my own gear that much.
Okay.
It sits around. And
Right.
I didn't realize that it's been pretty much sitting around. I think the last time I used it was New Year's Eve, like a year ago. And when we were at sound check, it was doing a weird sound, and Robbie Crane had noticed it. He like touched the power switch, and it made a weird tink sound. It was like tink. He's like, "Oh, that's your preamp tube. It's about to go." He like knows all that shit. He could hear it like a mechanic that could listen to a car, know exactly what it needs. He picked up on what the problem was at sound check, which I was like, oh shit, because I did check it. I thought at my place, I plugged everything in like as I do, make sure I was going up with my stuff in order, and it was sucky to get up there and see that something wasn't in order, and I don't know exactly what was up. It made it to the second to last song, and then it had a full-blown, it was out. I had to like pull the microphones over from the one speaker cabinets and quickly shove them over to the spare Black Stars that they have there. The house amps there are these Black Star guitar amps they're okay for I mean, they seem to withstand the beating of being the house gear at the whiskey all these years now. But anyways, a good thing that was there, because I was able to like pretty much get the show going without having a showstopper.
Right.
But we played Back for More. I had like 1950s gain going on. I was like BB King out there with that. But then I like quickly saw some other button, so I was able to put it on the turbo.
Sounded like somebody flicking an empty can. Tink,
it was like
tink,
Angus
tink,
Young,
tink, tink.
Angus Young Jailbreak 77 tone. Then I was able to find the turbo switch. There was like one final, they have like levels of distortion on these amps.
Okay. Right.
And then, crazy, really crazy, and really crazy, I ended up finding the last one and clicked it, and I was able to like at least end good.
Nice.
Get out of there. Just go, oh God, get me out of here.
Nice.
Who else came up? Chris Hager came up, who was in Mickey Rat originally.
Sure.
And let's see,
Mighty Ira Black. Yeah, I saw pictures of his death metal looking ass up there playing with you guys. That is,
oh yeah,
that is a strange look for the Bullet Boys.
He exudes metal. And
but he exudes metal that doesn't match the Bullet Boys. And I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm just saying it's like the Bullet Boys crashed with Anthrax or something, and that's what you got left.
Maybe it's time for a change. Maybe Bullet Boys needs to be more like Anthrax. Maybe that is what they need. Yeah, I don't know. I came into the band for Stephen Piercy. Believe me, I know what it's like to have people say, "You don't belong here, man."
Yeah. Well, they still say that to you with the Mohawk.
Yeah. But I didn't give a shit. I'm like, if Steven asked me to come, I'm not going to say no because you don't think I belong here.
Well, then I just can't believe you didn't grow your hair to look like Warren DeMartini.
Oh man, if I could have, I would have. No,
you could be Warren Ferentini.
There you go.
That would be the best if Steven started introducing you that way on guitar. Erik Ferentini.
Well, they are kind of similar. They have a Italian-y Greek. My last name's Greek, but his is probably Italian. But they do have a similarity there. But otherwise, that's where it kind of stops. Although I've over the years been able to cop his style well enough to keep my gig all these years.
Yeah.
Anyway, but generally speaking, when you're replacing these people, especially like high-profile guitar players, do you really want to get a guy that looks exactly like a clone of him?
See, I don't know. It's working for Judas Priest.
Yeah, like I know it has eventually worked for Judas Priest, but it shouldn't have. In a way, like I
Right.
feel like anybody who goes up like literally dressing like KK and totally doing his look with the same guitar, almost right for that alone should never have been received
Yeah.
as
The only
well as he
thing
did.
the only thing Faulkner didn't do was change his name to like JJ or something.
Right.
That and I bet you it was discussed. I'd bet anything that was discussed that he would be JJ Upton or something.
Now,
You know,
what about this? There's things that we don't know. Maybe he was told to dress like that. Maybe Rob Halford goes, "Hey, look, mate, some of these days in the rock and roll industry are odd and some are even. But today, you're going to wear KK's outfit,
yeah, I
or
don't doubt it.
whatever."
Dude, there's definitely a dress code in Judas Priest. Let's be honest.
Right. And it's
There's
super gay.
never been a time, yeah, well, and there's that, and it does look like it's out of a bad S&M porn, but there's never been a time that you've seen those guys, like one guy go up there in a pair of jeans and a t-shirt,
Right.
and like Ripper, I've known Ripper forever, before Judas Priest and after Judas Priest, and both of those he never wore leather everything. But when he was in Judas Priest, he was leather pants and he was wearing the jacket, and he was all leathered up with the Ripper jacket, that had all the Judas Priesteries in it. So, and I know I'm making up words here. It's like the
I
Judas
would do it if
Priesteries.
they offered me the gig. I'd get all leathered. I'd look like Leather Tuscadero from Happy Days. That's what they wanted.
You'd be right in there. Just call me Susie Quattro.
Exactly.
Too funny, man. Well, dude, we're gonna have a little bit of fun tonight. It's gonna be a loose show tonight because it's the first of the year. Let's face it, nobody did a lot of work. I didn't do a lot of prep getting ready for the show. I know you were out and about, just walking around, and
I've been taking flying lessons, man, from my buddies
yeah,
over here, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and I
that
forgot
guy,
this. I forgot this dude's name.
yeah, that guy, Steve something, isn't it? I don't know. But no, we're gonna have a little fun. We're gonna talk at the bottom of the hour here. We're gonna talk with Scott from Good Company with Scott Bowling. Scott Bowling is gonna be with us to talk about his amazing looking podcast. And I will say his podcast, I like to think our podcast looks good. I put a good amount of time into doing the graphics and learning how to switch screens and all this shit so that it looks pretty good. This fucking guy, his show looks immaculate. I mean, it's by far of the non-sponsored, or at least the shows that I think are not sponsored shows, his is the best looking show. So we'll talk to him about how the hell he does it, because I want to steal some ideas from Scott. But
I mean, I didn't have to actually lease a whole cockpit airplane to do my.
No. You could have just asked Scott. He would have told you how to do it.
Sorry, Kareem, you can go now.
Yeah, beat it. Beat it, you basketball dick. But yeah, we'll talk to him, and what we'll specifically talk to him about is podcasting and the direction it's going. And I have a couple of specific things I want to talk to him about. One is that now that COVID is kind of over, we've seen all these fucking fly-by-night guys go away, which is great, because during the pandemic, there was like 2 billion podcasts that all started, and most of them weren't any good, and most of those went away. So now the landscape is back to us that are the survivors for the taking, I guess, the ones that withstood COVID. So I want to get his take on that. And I also want to get his take, especially about video, about how important video is as we go forward into this medium. Because I mean, I see the numbers, and I know there's a lot of people that still check out podcasts on their phones or in their cars or whatever. But man, the numbers, the actual physical, this is how many downloads you have and this is how many clicks you have. The numbers on our audio stuff have just gone, and the numbers on our video stuff is just going straight up. So Video is clearly the way people want to consume it. And I want to talk to him about that as well to see what he thinks about that and if he's going to make any adjustments to what he's doing. And again, I'm just looking to steal ideas because he does it better than I do. So yeah, so I'm here to thieve you, Scott. I'm just telling you that in advance. I'm here to steal your ideas, but so we'll definitely be talking about all that kind of stuff. And we'll definitely talk about just for a second. We will talk about the passing of our friend Bob Nalbandian because while I did a full thing on CMS the other night, he had a brief history with you, which I do want to mention, and it just goes more to kind of showing what kind of dude Bob was. That he didn't really know it. Well, you tell the story, man. I mean, because
There's
I
a
don't know how
couple of
much you
stories that
knew
came
him.
up when he passed, when I was feeling bad because I mentioned this on my Facebook that I really appreciated his compliments that he always threw my way, going way back. Actually, I thought about it
Sure.
today, and in the beginning of the pandemic, I was very vocal about how I thought everything was bullshit and we shouldn't go along with anything, and
Sure.
everything that they were trying to manipulate us with our grandparents and this and that was just psychological warfare. And I was worried how that would be received. And I remember he came on, I think the following week, and was saying that he enjoyed hearing me as a guest, and I had cracked him up because I think I had made a comment like we should just slip tortillas under the door to our grandpa before we give away our freedoms forever.
Right.
Something like that. I'd have to go back and listen to the episode, but I remember he was right from the beginning. I was like, oh, okay, cool. He thought that was funny and whatever. And then
Sure.
later, you had told me that he complimented your choice in having me on, and had said he even said I was smart.
Yeah,
Which
I have that here. I'll share it. I don't unless you don't want it shared.
no, you can share. That's all good.
This was the text that I got from him. And it just says, was listening to the CMS podcast that you did with Erik and was truly impressed. Erik and you are a great team as he is, this is a little nutty, as he is super intelligent, not just regular intelligent, Erik. You're super intelligent, well-spoken, and you definitely have a great chemistry together. Obviously nothing against Neely, but Erik comes off as very sincere and humble, unlike Neely, who in recent years seems as like he has something to prove on the podcast, and that's fine. That's Neely's persona, kind of, Plus the topics you and Erik discussed, like the conspiracy theories, etc., were really interesting and entertaining. Anyway, dude, just my opinion and perhaps food for thought for you in the future. So that was after you did the show subbing for Neely. And I ain't gonna lie, it was one of the reasons that I was already thinking, yeah, this is kind of working. It worked really well. Let's maybe pursue it. And then getting that from Bob, I was like, yeah, obviously it's coming from a good source. So let's fucking make that work.
Well, and I told you I was super flattered by all this, but I had no expectation of getting into this.
Sure.
Had never thought to be a podcaster. So when I did start to do it, I was, of course, a little insecure about it. So to see a message like that from him was very, very inspiring. And so, I just wanted the audience to know that he definitely inspired me personally, just with his compliments throughout the last few years here.
Yeah, no, I mean, great dude, and I mean, I'm not going to get into, again, we talked about it for an hour and a half on CMS. If you want to hear that, it'll be up everywhere tomorrow. So it comes out tomorrow everywhere. So you can hear it there. I'm not going to rehash all that stuff, other than just to share a nice little side note that is going on now. Matt Hartnett, who did Skull Sessions with Bob at the end, the last year and a half that Skull Sessions was a thing. He and I talked yesterday at length, and we're gonna do one final episode of Skull Sessions, as a Bob tribute. We're not sure when yet because we're putting it together with some people, but it's going to be a tribute that's like pretty cool, and we're reaching out to like some legitimate people, like, but not necessarily. It's not going to be all like, hey, here's Dave Mustaine and here's Lars, and
The
it's not going
names
to
you
be that.
told me today were amazing. I don't know if
Yeah,
you're gonna mention them now or
yeah,
not.
I'll mention them. I don't
Yeah.
care because I literally, as the show was starting,
Mhm.
as the intro was running, I got the text saying, "Yeah, I'd be honored to do this," from David Ellefson.
Great.
And, so Ellefson is definitely gonna be in, and we're thinking Gene Hoglan's gonna be in, and,
Amazing drummer.
yeah, amazing. And then one of the things we're gonna do too is we're gonna get some of Bob's personal friends that Matt knows and I know, and, I confirmed the one that I told you, but I'm not gonna share it here now because nobody will know who the fuck he is anyway. He's just a personal friend. But we're gonna get some of Bob's personal friends on as well, and we're gonna do a true tribute type of a thing for Bob, and kind of put a cap on his life. I mean, he spent so many years doing the skull sessions, and it was definitely important to him. And Matt carried on the tradition when Bob got sick originally, like 2-3 years ago. He got sick, and Matt carried it on, and I hosted it with Matt, and I hosted it without Matt a couple of times myself, and so we thought it might just be a nice way to kind of wrap it all up. So that's going to be coming in a couple of weeks. I'm not sure exactly when yet. I mean, it's, as you can imagine, this is kind of a logistical nightmare to say, okay, well, we're going to loop in 20 or so different guests.
Ugh, with
So,
various, internet strengths of their Wi-Fi.
yeah, well, we're going to try and figure out 15 to 20 guests and pop them in and out as we go. So, um, but that is coming, and I very much look forward to that. I'm very, when Matt said it to me last night, I was pretty darn happy to hear that somebody wanted to do something other than me, and I'm more than happy to participate or lead or whatever I got to do, because the dude fucking helped me do what I do. It's that
Right.
simple.
And
He
you're
helped me
most
do it.
qualified. You're most
Yeah.
qualified to lead the parade.
Yeah. Well, I would say Matt is probably a little more qualified than me, just because Matt, lived up there, and a lot of the later Skull Session shows were done at Matt's house with Matt and Bob just sitting there drinking beers, having fun, and just being goofy. So it'll be good. I promise everybody it'll be good, and it won't be weepy Chris that you got in the first hour of of CMS the other night. It'll definitely be a true celebration of a great person. So
And when is this gonna air, do you think?
I don't know yet for sure. We're literally contacting, like I said, Matt asked me about it last night. I started
Mhm.
contacting people today. We have to
Right.
we're gonna kind of go through the week and see who we get a hold of, and then we're gonna schedule when we're gonna do it. And then I don't think we're gonna do it live. I think we're gonna record it. That way, if people have fucky internet or whatever, I can clean it up a
Good.
little bit, and make it so it's a truly. I don't want it to be a sloppy, shitty thing. I want
No,
it
and
to.
this way you can edit stuff in too from his documentaries, different things,
Exactly, exactly.
cutaways and stuff.
So, but coming, I would say within January that we'll get that put together, and we'll move forward. So there we go. So one last hurrah for Bob, which is I mean, dude, what an outpouring from people. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I mean, what a how I don't have any love for Dave Mustaine these days, but what a cool thing for him to post a picture of him and Bob and Lars and Hoagland and so many publications and magazines and everybody really and none of it being shitty. So that's good. It's honestly really good that it's never good when you lose anybody, but it's good when they're treated with respect when they go down. So it's the best
Mhm.
we can say. So anyway, that is what's coming up, and Godspeed to Bob. And you know, is what it is, man. There's no happy way to get into that, and I'm not gonna even try to, but all right, so that's that. So why don't we do this? Let's take a quick break. We're gonna reset, I'm going to take a drink of something because, as you can hear, my throat is just fucking dying. And then we will be back with Scott Bowling of Good Company with Bowling. And we will talk about his great podcast. We'll talk about podcasting in general. And we'll see how many ideas I can steal from this fucking guy because he does it way better than I do. So give us a couple of minutes, folks, and we'll be right back with Scott Bowling to talk about some podcasting stuffity stuff. All right, we'll be back. Do you like great heavy metal banter about the more modern bands of today? Then you need to be checking out Talk to Me. That's right, you need to be doing it. Featuring the one, the only, well, maybe not either of those two, but one of the bassists of Primer 55, Mr. Joshua Toomey, as well as yours truly, we dig deep into today's modern heavy metal world to bring you the best podcast in the goddamn game. So you should be watching. Get Talk to Me at youtube.com/notfest or wherever you get your favorite audio podcasts. New episodes come out every Thursday in audio form and on Fridays on YouTube over there at Notfest. Make sure you are tuned in. Talk to Me on notfest.com. Subscribe today. Hey, everybody, it's Chris Akin from All the Shows and wanted to share with you one of my other passions other than music. That, of course, being coffee. Anybody that's listened to me knows that I love coffee. And I have found another great brand, ladies and gentlemen, that you guys need to check out. Simply named, no gimmicks to it at all. It's just Coffee Brand Coffee. It's fantastic coffee, and I am not kidding you. They have everything that you would possibly want. Their coffee is excellent. I like the Roaster's Choice, but they have the pumpkin spice and all that other stuff, all the flavored stuff that you might like. They've got K-Cups for you. They've got cold brews. They offer tea. They've got cocoa. They literally have everything that you would want. So if you're looking for a great coffee, if you don't want to just settle for the crap that they sell you at the grocery store, this is another fine alternative. Coffee Brand Coffee. Just go to www.bit.ly/CMScoffee. One more time, bit.ly/CMScoffee, and use the coupon code CMSPN to save a little bit of money, and you can get some of the best coffee that is available today. So one more time, it is Coffee Brand Coffee. We love it here at the Classic Metal Show, and you will too. So get some today, folks. Coffee Brand Coffee. Now, I don't know if it's as good as Stephen Piercy coffee, but I'd imagine it probably. I have to test the Stephen Piercy coffee to see, but the Coffee Brand Coffee is fantastic. So
I could send you the Stephen Piercy one. You could send me one of those.
All right.
We could have a taste off.
Yeah, we can do that. We can definitely do that. Well, here's a guy that probably knows a thing about coffee too, because he certainly knows everything there is to know about podcasting. It's the one and only. It is Scott Bowling. Scott, how are you, man?
Good. What's going on?
What's happening, man? It's good.
Welcome.
Good to talk to you once again, man. And as I've been making very clear, you're like a pro in our amateur world.
I'm very amateur at podcasting right now, so I'm like, I got this cheap little mic, so
I don't know, man. But your show is not amateur on any level. Your show is, I will say, the most pro of anybody that's doing it.
Oh, I appreciate it. It's the people I use, you know.
Right. So is that the secret? Is hiring a company to produce it, or what?
Yes, dude. It's a lot of pressure too, because I'm like, you guys are doing like this like amazing work. Now I got to step up my game, you know. So it's yeah. But yeah, it's definitely it's a great team I have. It's the guys from Kind Punk. They do documentaries and stuff. I'm too old for this shit. It's a documentary on I can't think what network it's on, but anyway, they do documentaries and stuff, and so they do a good job.
Yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do a good job, man. And I love it. You know, I have been a fan for years at this point now. You know,
wow, man, that means a lot.
Yeah. Well, Toomey turned me onto it originally. And I think Toomey turned you onto my show originally,
yes,
like way back when. So Toomey, we'll blame all of this on Toomey.
Yeah,
but
I look up. Yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I look up to Toomey so much. When I first started, he was like one of the first podcasts I listened to.
Sure.
And And so he interviewed Bones from Suck Mojo. Have you ever heard that episode before?
I have, yeah.
Oh, it's hilarious, right? And so
Mhm.
I interviewed Bones shortly afterwards, and I was scared to death just because I thought I was going to get that same treatment as Toomey did.
Nice. Well, dude, the difference is you do your show, and for people that don't know, you can look up Scott's show at what is it, Scott Good Company? Is that right?
Yes, yeah,
.com?
that's right.
ScottGoodCompany.com.
That's right.
You can look it up and you can see the show. First of all, you have everybody live with you, or for the very most part, everybody's live with you. And that all by itself is an amazing, as somebody that does this, that is an amazing amount of scheduling and prep and everything that you must put into this to get them to get to you. And, and then you do all this high end graphics where you're handing them the, 5 foot by 5 foot plaque of their albums and stuff. But what's most amazing to me is when I'm saying you're getting guests that are coming in, it's not like you're getting the triangle player from TSO. You're getting Head from Korn or guys from Limp Bizkit or POD or like super legitimate, still very relevant bands. Is that, I guess the question, I don't want to just say, well, how do you get them? But, I guess that is my question. Because I know how hard it is to schedule the bigger name guys. You got to go through 18 hoops to get them.
So the best, I got lucky. I mean, really, it's luck. I interviewed Mikey from Islander, and little did I know he was friends with, Brian Welch from Korn. So he kind of mentioned that. Oh yeah, I went on tour with them, and I said, I would love to have any of those guys. Kind of wishful thinking, just saying that out loud.
Sure.
He's such a solid guy. He hit me back and said, "Yeah, I think Head will be on your show." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" I was just kidding. Is this real? And so really the best way for me to get people like that is just, it's, once somebody has a good experience here, and then they can tell people they know, and that's easier than me just going on social media and be like, "Hey, will you be on my show?" Come to my basement. It's word of mouth though. That's really what helps me out. It's, just getting lucky. And then I try to make even the littlest, not the littlest, but the smaller interviews I've had, I try to make them all, I got food, drinks, everything they need. And then they just tell their friends, and they tell them, it's kind of a snowball, I just got lucky with Brian Welch. I mean, I have so many stories with him. It's when he first got here, he was a little creeped out the first time. He's been here 3 times.
Right.
The first time it was weird because we didn't know him, he didn't know us. It was like, hey, and he had a good time.
Nice. Would you have any interest in having Stephen Piercy's guitar player there?
Erik. Yeah. Erik, what's up, man?
What up?
I definitely need Erik on this show.
There you go.
Hey, you know what's funny is I was thinking about this today, is the singer from Bobby Blotzer's Rat Experience, Joshua.
Right.
Joshua Allen.
Yeah.
Yes, he grew up. I mean, not grew up. He used to live right down the street from me, and we hung out all the time.
Oh, that's awesome. He's very talented. What's he up to, man? Nobody knows where he's at.
Last I heard, he was in Vegas, with his wife. But it's just nuts because I saw him playing with Bobby. I was like, oh my God. It's weird when you grow up with somebody, you just check and you're like, wow, he's in Rat now. But yeah, he's super cool guy.
He did a great job, and with that, as we all know, and it's a shame that he got treated kind of like crap. That could have probably went on to actually work out for them. But
how do you get treated like crap? Was he like a punching bag kind of thing? Like
no, I think it was more financially, because there's no way that they would have come close to pulling off the Rat Experience there that they were doing. Where basically, I don't know how much you know about the backstory, but initially, Josh was in the Sin City Sinners, which is a cover band in Vegas, and they had Bobby Blotzer just appear with them one night as a guest to play drums, and Bobby was so impressed by Josh singing the Rat songs that he went, you know what, I'm going to start a band. I'm going to be the Bobby Blotzer Rat Experience.
Right.
And they went and played, and surprisingly, everyone that saw it went, well, that was pretty good, you know, and you couldn't knock them for that. And they were playing and everything was fine. But then he just went off the deep end and just started calling it rat without getting any legal, you know, justification for doing it, or whatever you call it. So that proceeded to just cause all these, you know, legal problems. But in the meantime, they were getting very big gigs using the name Rat. That finally enabled them to get big shows that were actually paying pretty well for Bobby Blotzer, who was taking most of the money. So if they were getting, I don't know what numbers they were getting, 20 grand, 30 grand, he was keeping it and just paying these guys a couple $100.
Yeah, that sucks.
Right. So they're playing these big shows and everybody's going ahead with it because it sounds so good. But it was really because the guitar player was really young and good that Bobby got, and the singer nailed Steven, which was really surprising because nobody has ever done that. Yeah. There's nobody that sounds like Steven. Not that he's a Pavarotti singer, but just for some reason, nobody nails the Rat thing like Josh Allen did, which was really strange. But yeah, it's a shame. So Bobby was, you know, treating those guys like crap, and I guess paying them like crap. And at one point they were just like, man, you'd have nothing if it wasn't for us up there delivering the goods, you know. And one by one they all just jumped ship, and once Josh left, that was it.
Yeah, how do you sustain something like that, you know? Paying people like crap.
Well, our buddy Chris can tell you, our buddy from the show that does the theme to the classic metal show, who is a fantastic singer himself. Chris is
Shawn Nichols.
Shawn Nichols. Mm-hmm. Shawn Nichols was the last guy to jump on board with that, and that was just when the ship was just gurgling. You saw like the mast of the ship going down in the water, and Shawn Nichols was right on the very top there, just oh shit. Yeah. And then that was it.
Shawn had the interesting, I'll say luck, but I guess lack of luck, of not only did he jump onto that ship, but then he jumped into the Quiet Riot ship, wrote a record, he writes a record, he records the record, and then they fired him to bring in James Durbin and re-recorded all of his vocals with Durbin on songs that he wrote. And that went all insane. And then it was like this, it was nutty because I was kind of in the middle of that a little bit, and like in one ear, Frankie Banali was threatening lawsuits. In the other ear, Shawn was saying, fuck you, I'm going to put these things out here. I'm just going to put them out on YouTube. I have them too, and they're my voice and they're my songs. I wrote them. So I'm going to release your album that you already signed with Frontiers on YouTube. So it was a mess. Oh my God, it was a mess that somehow, I don't know how they resolved it. I never asked, but oof, I was like, I'm glad I'm on this side of it where I can just say bad things and then walk away.
I love, I'm a fan of your guys' show. I love the dynamic between Chris and Erik.
Oh,
and
great.
Yeah. And I remember Chris saying something about Erik, you were wanting to do a podcast. And when I heard you say that, I was like, oh, I wonder how this is going to turn out, because everybody wants to do a podcast. And I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, it is really good. I really like it.
Well, thank you, sir.
I'm surprised it's really good too. Hey, Erik, turn your speakers down just a little bit.
Okay.
Because your speakers are definitely humming back to me. But well, Scott, you know, let's talk about your show for a little bit before we talk about podcasting in general. Sure. You know, you mentioned it. You do your show, you know, from your basement, but it's definitely, I don't want people to have the misconception that it is a knockoff Wayne's World type thing. It's a very, very high-end looking thing, and you clearly spend a ton of time not only crafting the look, but also crafting the interviews. I mean, you obviously spend a ton of time researching and getting the graphics and the graphical pieces to match the research that you've done. Talk a little bit about how that and how long you have to spend to put out each episode, and, you know, just putting it together, because your shit's like a TV show. It's not even like a
Wow,
podcast.
thank you.
It really is. I mean, I honestly could easily see you going to Access TV or Tubi or somebody and saying, "Here's my product, pay me."
That would be amazing. Yeah, that would be the goal, definitely. It's a process and it's a passion thing. Um, where to start? That was a good question. So, you know, if you watch my interviews, I call them props. I have so each album I hold them up and say, "Hey, your next album." We kind of go through each album. That was kind of a crutch at first because I was like, "How am I going to do? I'm going to keep this in the flow." So I had this guy print these large albums out, trying to keep the show different. You know, how many you know YouTube shows you see where a guy pulls out his own little prop blown up of the album. So that's different. Also, I've like you mentioned earlier with the plaques. You know, I've started giving artists these awards. And here you go. You went platinum in my basement. So here you go. Here's a gift. This was all passion stuff. It wasn't like I'm going to do this to blow up the channel. You know, I did this because you know, I don't know. It's just something like I grew up listening to these people.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got in touch. I had for the first year of doing the show, it was just me and this other guy named Dustin, and we worked for a year. And I interviewed Mikey from Islander, which I mentioned earlier.
Right.
And when he showed up, he brought his security guy with him, which was Nathan Mowry. Nathan lived in Atlanta. He brought security because hey, this is this guy's basement. So when Nathan showed
but
up,
that's a legitimate concern, dude.
it
It's like,
is,
okay,
yeah, man.
you know,
I mean,
it's like
how
I
many
don't
people
know
have
you.
podcasts?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like I don't know you, and 10, and you're saying come to my house. It's like, yeah, you know, I might end up dead. I've watched a couple serial killer documentaries too. You know, it's
so
crazy.
when Nathan showed up as the security guy, I found out quickly that Nathan shot the Judas video for Posy.
Okay.
And I was like, holy crap, that's amazing. The guy I was using, I wasn't getting along with. There's a lot to that. But when he said that, I was like, I'm thinking about, I'm going to use this guy. So about a week or so later, I called Nathan up and I said, hey, you know, what do you think about filming Good Company? He said, dude, that would be an honor. And from there, he had his own crew. And that's where it got really professional.
Right.
And it got, you know, what's funny is that it's as stressful as you think it would be when you have lighting. We even have makeup. We have all these different things put in. Not that never really stressed me out. It was like a process, you know, getting food ready, getting, you know, it was just like a party. It still is, right?
Yeah.
And but doing podcasts freaks me out more. I don't know why, but you know, when I'm doing the show, it's like it's a mostly because I guess I'm in control of it. You know, I don't know. And when I interview people, they're comfortable because I already talked to them about what they like to eat, what they like to drink. So when they show up, it's just like it's all about comfort. It's like, hey man, don't call it a basement, call it a studio, I guess. But
Right.
I try to make everything smooth.
Well, and dude, I mean, I've got the interview that you did with Lord Nelson from Stuck Mojo on the screen here. And I know, you know, I obviously have Lord on my podcasting network. And when he did your show, I know he called me like the day he got home and he's like, "You're not gonna believe this fucking show, dude." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, you know, because like you guys were like sending me little clips too from the place, you know, like you guys had cut me a little clip. But Lord's like, dude, I got there and I had my girl with me and they took me out to the beach and they took me or to the water
lake.
and
Yeah,
to the water. And then, you know, there's all kinds of food. He was like, I wasn't treated this good when I was in Stuck Mojo. You know, he really had nothing but praise for it. And I've heard that from a few people, man, that have all said that doing your show. And I mean, like I said before, and looking at it right now, you know, how can Access TV or one of those not be able to say, look, this is fully packaged. We don't have to spend anything but paying you. You know, it just seems like might be more stressful for you to have to do it every week or something. But you know,
no, Chris, you're hitting you're hitting the spots, man. Because like right now, it's you know we've been doing the show for 6 years, and it's taking a toll. I mean, this is an expensive hobby to say the least. So
I bet.
I'm starting to get pressure pretty hard from the wife, and like, hey, you know what? You're not making much from this, so what's going on? So like having somebody pick it up or something would be really be nice.
Well, have you like pursued that, or have you like,
No,
reached out
no,
to dude, you should
I'm
reach
not
out
smart
with
enough.
this thing. Oh, get the fuck
I
out of
need a
here. You're not
manager, you
smart.
know.
Oh, hell, here I am. I know people at Access TV. I could certainly talk to somebody over there, and I certainly know a couple of people that work for Tubi,
Wow,
you
that's
know,
cool.
but I mean, it's certainly, I mean, I do a ton of podcasts and I watch as many, and I know you guys do too. There's nobody doing this. There's nobody doing this. And that's not to kiss your ass.
No,
You
it
can
means
ask
the
Eric
world to me.
well, you can ask Eric what I said before when I was just telling him who was coming on. I said the same thing, that nobody's doing it at this level.
Wow,
And it should
man,
be rewarded.
and that means the world. Yeah, that means a lot to me. You're the only person that's really ever told me that.
Oh,
Just
get
like what
out
you
of here.
said.
Come on, really?
No, man. I mean, I get praise and everything, but yeah, that's really cool. It means a lot.
Well, dude, let's move forward here a little bit here. Let's talk about just the world of podcasting and delivering the message of these bands and whatever. Because ultimately, we can give it whatever name we want to give it: podcast, video cast, show, whatever. But the bottom line is, we're all music fans first. That's
Yep.
really what we are. We're just music fans, and we want to promote music, and we want to promote these bands that for the most part, at least on my side, and correct me if anybody feels different, but for the most part, we want to promote the bands that we feel didn't get what they were deserved.
Yes.
I think we all do that, and it's tough to do. And during the pandemic, everybody and their brother, anybody that could afford a $50 microphone, had a microphone and a camera, and there was a zillion podcasts out there, and there was a zillion bad podcasts out there. And it does seem like it's thinning out a little bit now, thank God, because it was like you're competing for me, and jump in here, Scott. But for me, the hardest thing was I had no worries about my shows being good or not good. I knew they were going to be better than what everybody else was doing because I worked that hard to do that. What I hated was that all of a sudden I'm competing with some guy with 14 listeners and 3 hours in the business for interviews.
Yeah. And you ask great questions, by the way. So it's got to kill
Thanks.
you when you hear these like crappy interviews.
Dude, we have literally made a cottage industry on the CMS of bad podcasters. Just bring bad shows of just, people coming in and being like, okay, so you played with Eddie Van Halen. What's that like?
Yes.
How do you think it? What do you think it is like? Do you think it sucked?
That reminds me of the Chris Farley show. Where you're like, "Hey, Paul McCartney, do you remember when you were in the Beatles?" That was really cool.
But that's the kind of dude. We have beaten up so many shows for doing that kind of stuff, and it is frustrating. It's frustrating because I do pride myself on being a good interviewer. It's the it's the only thing I work at. I don't work very much at watching my mouth or saying things that are kosher or cool with people or whatever. I don't work on any of that stuff. I do listen back to every single interview that I do.
You do?
And
Okay.
I absolutely do. And I nitpick them to death.
Oh, me too.
And God knows, if I say a dumb question, if I ask a what's it like question, it'll haunt me for weeks. It'll literally haunt me. And I will bring it to the CMS so that we can pick on me, so that I learn my lesson not to do it again. Because, the goal is, I think people forget the goal. And the goal is not for me to be the star, not for you to be the star. The goal is to get the star to talk about things that everybody else is afraid to ask or just doesn't ask. I don't know that you got to ask hard, like afraid questions, but you just have to get personal, like everybody wants to, like we wanted to when we were standing outside the gate waiting for bands to come out to the bus. You know, that's my interpretation, and that's what I try to do my shit from.
So
You
how
know,
do you become not I'm thinking of Eddie Trunk right now. How do you become not like get off like the I'm supposed to get recognized more for all the years I put into this. I mean,
well,
because you're not like like I
no, no,
always
no,
listen to
no.
you and Neely talk about that, but you're very humble. So I mean that's what people are attracted to. It's not and kind of I'm trying to think of the other guy that interviews really well. I can't think of his name. Oh, Metal Injection.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about, but I
He was
know
on my show, Jose.
Jose Mangan, yeah,
Yeah, he's an amazing, humble guy.
yeah,
So anyway,
yeah.
that's cool. That's a good quality.
Well, I'll tell you where for me where it comes from. And Jose is the most humble guy in the world. Jose, he doesn't like to promote the things that the companies want him to promote about himself. Like, I know for a fact he hates that he's being called the ambassador of metal or metal ambassador or what. He hates that because he's like, he would be one of those guys that'd be like, no, I'm just a fan.
Yeah,
He'd rather be that fan that turns you on to Amon Amarth on an episode of Liquid Metal versus being Jose Mangan, the ambassador of metal.
dude.
He's
I had Jose on the show, and
yeah.
him and his wife came over, and he had a bag, this big paper bag full of albums that he had signed over the years as a
Okay.
gift. It had like Black Sabbath, had all these
Wow.
albums and shirts and everything, and he was so incredibly humble and just down to earth. It was
Yeah.
nuts.
Well,
Yeah.
he's still a fan. And that's
Yes. Yeah, I
that's
got
the
that. Yeah.
nicest thing about I mean, he's a fan that's had some opportunities.
Yeah.
And I mean, like buying the limo, the
Yeah. The
Pantera
Pantera.
limo.
Yeah.
He bought the Pantera limo because he's a fan, not because he wanted to remodel it and put it on auction or something. He wants it in his backyard. That's what he wants.
Yeah. That's amazing.
you know. But as far as staying humble, I haven't done anything to not be humble about. I haven't climbed any mountains yet. So, but B, it's just
Yeah,
I
but
don't.
you wrote books and stuff, man.
Yeah,
You did a
but
lot of stuff.
I've done a lot of stuff. But what does that mean? It's I didn't do that stuff to get famous. I don't
Right.
care about being famous. I honestly don't want to be famous. I look at fame as an absolute curse. And you see what it turns people into. You mentioned Eddie Trunk. I'll go to Eddie Trunk as a prime example. I respect 1,000% what Eddie did in the beginning. 1,000,000%. I really do. I mean, he's one
Yeah,
of the
with
forerunners.
Metallica and
Yeah,
Anthrax, like
Mega
moving them up.
Force, all that
Yeah,
stuff. I mean, he really was an integral player in the game.
absolutely.
And he still, when he wants to, does fantastic interviews. And I'll argue that with anybody. And I'll point to what happened here. All right, I don't know what happened there, but we're back.
About that, I don't know what happened either.
I have no idea what happened there, but something went goofy. So
I think I know what happened, guys.
the cat,
My cat knocked the plug out.
damn cat. That's why I'm going to buy you a burlap bag and a brick.
Oh, I did not hear that.
But no, getting back to what we were saying about Eddie Trunk, I fully respect the guy's talent. I fully respect what he did and everything that he has done. I don't respect that now he needs to be part of it. The biggest reason he was able to do these things was because he understood his place. His place was to be behind the scene a little bit. His place was to let his artist shine. His place was not to be one of the artists. And now he's one of the artists. And, and again, if that's his career path, more power to him. But that's in our industry, that's a formula for failure because you're one bad interview away from everybody hating you.
True. I love Eddie Trunk too, but the thing is, I listen to him all the time. I'm just gonna admit
Sure.
that. But
Sure.
I had Eddie Trunk here at my house, and I had Jose Megan at my house. Those two interviews and the experience behind the cameras, us hanging, the hang time,
Sure.
completely different. Eddie
I'll
Trunk
bet.
was very scheduled, like, when is this gonna be over? Is there food there? I got to go back to the airport. Jose, I was like, dude, Jose, you're gonna miss your flight. like you got to go right now. Like it's 5 hours later. Like we couldn't. I didn't bond as much with Eddie Trunk, and I'm not trying to put him down or
No.
anything. He was nice, but
It
just
takes a
the
while.
fan aspect was not there.
Right.
It takes a while to get down with Eddie. It's like I knew Eddie Trunk for 20 years probably.
Wow, I didn't know that, man.
No, before he acknowledged me, he didn't let me finish. For years, he would come and just walk right past me for years. And I used to think he was a total prick. But after I was around long enough, then that changed. He was actually started being nice and, coming up to me, asking how I'm doing. One day he was a big White Lion guy. So when Greg was in the band, he wanted me to take a picture of him and Greg. He's all, here's my number. Text me that, and then I had his number. And then, from then out, he started being cool. And, and I just saw him in Vegas a few weeks ago. And we were talking about our heart health and blah, blah, blah. But it's taken a long time. That was my point, just to not feel bad and hang in there. And eventually Eddie Trunk will be cool to you.
Okay. That's a wonderful story. And here's my rebuttal to that wonderful story. Why can't you just be cool with everybody from the first time? And then you don't have, you're not a fucking god here, for God's sakes. I shouldn't need 20 years of proving my jestership before you allow me in the courtyard. I mean, get out of here with that. Be civil, be cool with everybody. Be good. I don't respect that. I look at that and I'm like, I surround myself with people that are cool until they're not people that aren't cool, but I want to be friends with.
Isn't it a New York thing? It's like a New York thing. They're like, I'm from the East Coast originally, and we're not that way. Yeah. It's taken me a lot of time to humble down, because you get this. I used to have this Jersey freaking attitude, and and I shouldn't have, and it's I'm trying to become more humble in my later years, but maybe it's something to do with that. It's demographics, perhaps geographical. Geographical.
No, that makes sense. That's a good point.
It could be. I don't know. I mean, here in the Midwest, we're hard as fuck. I know that. I certainly in Cleveland. I mean, Eric, I mean, it ain't just me. People think that when I lived in California for a couple of years, people were just put off by me. They were like, dude, easy, and I'd be like, what? I just ordered a taco, I was just ordering food, and they'd be like, oh, yeah, they were thought that I was pushy and overbearing or whatever. and it just is. I mean, the Midwest and certainly the far East Coast, is definitely edgier or harder or more demanding. But that being said, I don't think I ever had a problem where people were just like, did not want to be around me at all because I treated them as less than me. And right. I think that's kind of Eddie's crutch right now, is he literally thinks he sold the records, not Rat, not Bon Jovi, not Kiss, not, he thinks by playing these records made these bands. And we've heard him say that on shows. Well, I got so-and-so back together, and I got Twisted Sister. And it's like, dude, stop. And then he gets mad at you when you call him out. Like he did it. Me and him had a little Twitter war, because he did the one that he did was he got Dokken talking to Lynch. And we literally had Dokken on our show. We had Don on our show telling us that that wasn't what happened 2 weeks before Eddie announced that it happened on his show. And we were like, dude, totally isn't what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, and I got the little show trying to get attention off the Big Show comment.
That's what he said?
Yeah. And I was like, okay, bro. Except for I have dated tape or I have dated audio. So, you know, you figure it out. But, you know, it's just like, dude, stop, you know. But again, I didn't want to turn this into an Eddie Trunk bashing thing.
No,
I
I'm
do
sorry
respect the guy, but
as an artist, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was going to interject one thing. The artists like myself, we need Eddie Trunk and we need Chris Akin.
Good point.
To survive. I'm just saying that as a guitar player in Stephen Pearcy's band, we need both you guys to talk about us and to play us.
And it should be that way though.
Man.
But it should be that way though. It should be a trade. It should be a fair trade off of, you know, when Steven's doing something, Steven knows, or you know, that you could get anytime Steven could call this show, or obviously this show, but he could call Classic Metal Show anytime he wants.
Yeah.
You know, and we have that relationship with every artist. Every artist I know has that relationship.
It should be mutually beneficial for both parties.
Of course.
You know,
and you know, when you're friends with the guys, you want to help them. You know, I mean, and Scott, you know this, man. I'm sure you have a bunch of friends now that you would have never imagined in your wildest dreams would have their phone numbers and you'd be texting with them in your phone.
It's insane, dude.
But what if they're doing something, you want to step up and help them now because they were cool.
Yes.
And again, I don't want to throw Eddie under the bus, but I'm going to one more time. If Eddie Trunk hit you up and wanted to do something, you're going to be looking at it like, well, let me see what my schedule has to say. You know, the same way he made you with, let me see if my schedule says I could stay here 3 more minutes.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. What if you had Ricky Ratman in Eddie Trunk's spot? How different would that be? Because I know Ricky, he's been on my show. He lives 2 hours away from my house.
Sure.
He's a super fan too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
How different would that be? Because he seems more connected, you know, like he seems like one of us, kind of like, I don't know if
he does.
Not one of us. Yeah.
He does. And you know, I've met Ricky. I don't know him, but I've met him obviously. And you mean like if he took the Trunk mantle, like or he ascended to it instead of Trunk?
Well, if he was on Faction Talk and he had his own talk show, you know, interviewing artists, I would definitely check that out, and I would listen to it every day. Yeah,
dude, the biggest
with Eddie Trunk is there's only one time. It's just Eddie Trunk. There's one guy, you know.
Yeah, that's it. And when Ricky was doing the Gimme Metal thing, I couldn't wait to watch it and listen to it. He had a show. He did the Headbangers Ball Returns or something. I forget what it was called. The Ball, I think it was just called.
Yes, the Ball. Yeah, he did the Headbangers Ball. Yep.
And I couldn't wait to watch it. And I watched it, and it was really fun. It was really good. It took me back in time. And they dropped the ball on it. You know, they didn't. I don't know why they didn't continue doing it. I don't know. It's probably money. I'd imagine Ricky needed to get paid, and that's fine. You know, I wish somebody would make Ricky the right offer, because he really is still connected in the right way. And again, you know, that's a great comparison, because he came up the same way Trunk did. You know, he came up, you know, managing the clubs and, you know, working at the Cat House and, you know, doing all that stuff. What is your cat doing over there, Eric? Jesus Christ.
I don't even want to look.
But no, Rackman came up the right way. I would love to see that. I think he would be excellent. The only place that Ricky might have a problem is that he's not stuck in the time warp that people want him to be stuck in. People would tune into Ricky Rackman to hear him talking about Queensryche and Rat. They would be very surprised if they talk to him and he's like, dude, the best bands out there today are Akercock and Amon Amarth or whatever. You know, he's very into like death metal and stuff. And I don't think people would be ready for that. But
did you say Akercock?
Yeah. That's a band. Akercocke. Look them up. Right. They're a death metal-y type band. But well, Scott,
Eric, are those cardboard cutouts behind you? I'm trying to figure it
out. These right here. I was gonna do
those are actual guys.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah, this is a hilarious movie from what 1978.
Yeah.
Airplane.
What's it called? Airplane. Yeah,
Airplane.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
He's got Airplane. Of course, I'm
Dude,
live
that's
at the
so cool.
Pantera. And of course,
Look-
I'm live at the Pantera show. So
like you
Nice,
have
yeah.
your
I got a Smash Mouth shirt. You see
Hey,
that?
nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
like you were saying, you have your albums. You whip out the big albums as your thing every show. Like I changed my deal every episode to match something we're going to talk about. And
Nice.
the Southwest Airlines debacle is going to come up. So I decided to just go full Airplane and just make a cockpit
There you
here.
go. Very nice.
That's awesome.
Well, Scott, what are you looking to now with 2023, man? I mean, obviously you know the way you do your show, I'm imagining you already are putting together guests for your show. So what are you looking at?
Yeah, that's interesting that you brought that up. So right now, 2023 is going to be a little different because me and my wife, we're trying to save up a little bit more money because this thing's been going on for 6 years. Not saying I'm going to quit doing interviews at my house,
Right.
but I'm looking at alternative ideas. I got some friends that have cameras. We're gonna we're talking about going and doing interviews on location, just kind of change it up, you know.
Sure.
You know, I've been doing this show for it just feels a little redundant. Like it's like I need to change it up.
Sure.
And I think it would be cool to, like, if a band's rehearsing, maybe show up at the rehearsal and film what they're doing and then interview them. I talked to Rich Ward in Guardians of the Jukebox.
Yeah.
I was like, what if we just showed up and did an interview on your bus or whatever? And he's like, that would be amazing. And so kind of changing it up a little bit, you know, and that way, and saving money at the same time. So
and you can pepper it with a lot of, you know, dude, as long as you take your iPhone or your phone with you, you know, you can literally pepper it with, you know, video from that night, later that night, especially if you're putting it back together, you know, and that's always more fun where you actually see the artist and you see, you know, you see them performing and then you see them talking about it, you know.
Yeah, in their environment. So it's not in my environment, it's in their environment. Yeah. I think it'd be different. And I want to do more podcasting too, like this.
Okay.
I think that would be cool. Kind of change things up a little bit. So 2023 would definitely interesting.
Yeah. Well, dude, obviously if you need any of that help, you know, you certainly know where to come to ask, because I certainly have a little knowledge there. So
absolutely. Do you guys so I'm friends with Chris Sinzak and I've been to the Rock and Pod Expo a couple of times. Do you guys ever go?
I have never gone. I am the worst at getting me to come out of anywhere. I do not like to travel. When I was in the military, I was the commanding general's bodyguard guy, and all we did was fly, like constantly I was in Korea. So I was constantly on a plane. Well, let's go to Australia. Let's go to France. Let's go to Russia. Let's go to Europe. So I was literally every week for a year and a half. I was just on a plane. So now you can't drag me on a plane.
Same with me. My girl hates that too, because she goes like, we never go anywhere. And I go, that's all I do is go places. I'm like, I want to enjoy being home for a few weeks. Is that okay?
Eric, do you guys live together? You and your girl?
Yes, we do.
Nice. Is that her cat or your cat?
This is my cat, and her name's
nice.
Kylie. And then my lady Susan has a white cat named Charlie, girl cat, which is very prolific on my social media. Charlie shows up a lot. This cat's like darker complected. She doesn't show up in pictures as well. I don't post quite as many of her, but she does like to jump on the podcast and knock shit over and fuck shit up.
Are you not a dog person at all? Just cats?
No, I love all animals. I really do. The only reason why I don't have a dog is just because of where we live.
Yeah, because he lives in paradise. If there's a picture of paradise, that's where he lives.
Yeah, we gutted out an airplane. And it's amazing. We have these cutouts of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Dude, I see his stupid Facebook every day, and I just want to vomit because it's literally if you just do like a search for images of awesome beach sunset, it might as well be shot from Eric's house.
Yeah, that sucks.
It just sucks. I hate it. I hate
Yeah,
you,
for you,
Eric.
Chris, it's like negative temperatures, right?
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
at Christmas.
Right. Yeah.
What-
Christmas was brutal. It was negative like 10 with the wind chill of negative 34. It
Do
was
you have
brutal.
pipes that just burst? You know, like
I've
how-
I've never had that, but I'm a veteran now to where like the rooms that don't have as much heat, I literally have little portable heaters that sit right next to the pipes, and I turn them on when it gets cold just to
yeah.
Oh, there you go.
and plus I always keep the little hot water dripping and when it's really, really cold, just to keep hot water going through the pipes. And
Chris tips.
yeah, there
Chris
you go.
tips.
These are my house hunting tips. You know? But yeah, look,
Chris tips.
I'll tell you why there's Chris tips, because Chris doesn't have the money to go and spend $10,000 to repipe his house. So especially when I could turn on a faucet and let it drip, let it drip a nickel's worth of hot water down the drain and keep it from freezing. So I've definitely learned, but yeah, it's nice where you are though, isn't it, man?
Me? No, it's actually, yes, it's actually gone in the 50s, but it was 7 degrees around Christmas time. So it's like that's the coldest it's ever been here. But yeah, you're right. It's actually in the 50s now, which is better than your minus temperature.
Oh yeah. Look at this guy, surfer fan. CHRIS Akin presents home contracting. Very nice.
I bummed everybody out because on Christmas Day I posted a picture. I think it was like 75 degrees here in Oceanside, where I live, California, and my patio is right on the strand, like on the beach. So I just like kicked up my feet and I have my Christmas socks on. I'm in my like boxers, and I'm just like got my feet up there, wishing everybody, sending everybody warm Christmas vibes from Oside. And I'm just like, everybody else is freezing. There's people dying in their cars in Buffalo, and I'm just
Dude,
like,
you should have your airplane guys in the background everywhere you go, like by the beach with you. It may be too much work, but that'd be a cool theme,
It would.
I think we're gonna leave all the big cutouts to you, Scott.
Yeah, really. Look, believe me, I'm looking at your room right there right now, Scott. And I'm like looking at that Metallica machine. I'm like,
Is that
Yeah,
your,
thanks, man.
that is your room right there?
Yeah, that's my basement right there.
I love it,
Yeah.
man.
Hey, thanks, man.
Is that the LE or is that the standard edition? Or do you know?
You are a pinball guy. Yes,
I own
have
a
no
pin.
clue, man.
I own the 5th largest pinball arcade in the country.
Scott didn't
Dude,
know that.
I knew that, man. I kind of forgot about that, but
Yeah.
it's there's one thing, Chris. Listen to this.
Yeah.
When the ball always gets stuck in one freaking corner all the time, and you have to tilt it a little, and then it rolls down. I'm like, how do you fix this?
Well, you
What's a
can
tilt?
Well,
That's
here
it,
we
you
go
gotta
now with
tilt.
Chris with some more Chris tips. Chris tips on
Chris
pinball.
tips.
Yeah.
Chris,
With
just
Chris
the
tips
tip.
on
Yeah.
pinball, what you do is there's that rack, that the ball comes up on, the little metal 2-prong rack thing that the ball slides down.
Yeah.
Take the glass off, bend the inside one just a hair, just a little tiny bit, and that'll dent it enough that the ball will slide automatically.
That's amazing. See, that's a Chris tip right there.
There's a Chris tip.
That should be your promotional, like me asking you that question.
There we
you
go.
can
That's going to be my new TikTok, Chris tips.
I would have overthought it with magnets and
I know, man. I was like, look at this Astroglide and spray it on.
No.
So just
like, what do I have
right
around
down.
here? Some
No,
Astroglides.
let me just tell you, when you're trying to keep 400 of them running at the same time, you learn every trick in the trade book.
How many employees do you have with 400 games or 400 pinballs?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Just 4.
Just 4 employees.
Yeah, just 4 and me.
Okay,
But
last question here. What's your favorite band pinball machine? But band wise, like Aerosmith.
Band wise,
do you have a favorite band?
probably Iron Maiden. Probably Iron Maiden. The Iron Maiden machine is great. I like the sound on the Led Zeppelin the best. The Led Zeppelin pinball machine the best. But it's a really crummy game. It's not.
Is it the retro? Like, is this old? How old are these games?
The Led Zeppelin's a fairly new one, but it plays all the old music, which is great. But it's just a big empty play field. It sucks. It's like I'll be honest, I don't love the Metallica one too much because it's just great music. The music part of it is great, but it doesn't play really. it plays a little too slow for me. I like a faster, and I suck at pinball. Let me be clear here. I'm terrible.
You're no Fonzie with the pinball.
No, I'm no Fonzie. I'm definitely
Hey,
I'm terrible at pinball, but I like the game to be fast. You know, I like to play a faster pinball game.
Do you guys have the Guns N' Roses one? Like,
We
they
did.
put out
We
one.
sold it. We
Oh,
sold it.
did okay. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we had it at one point. Dude, we've had them all. That's dude. If you're ever up this way, I'll take you out to Pinball PA, and
That'd be cool.
You won't believe some of the shit that's out there. Dude, we have one machine that there's only 4 of them in existence.
what?
It was a
one's that?
prototype. It's called Thunderball. It was a
Jim
prototype in the 70s for pinball machines, and they made 10. It's a terrible game. The hook to this that they thought was going to be amazing, and it was terrible, was that instead of having a plunger that you shoot the ball up and then it pings around for a while, you push a little button and it drops the ball right onto your flippers. Like, it comes up right to the flippers. So half the time when people were playing it in the prototype phase, they didn't know what was happening. They pushed the button, the ball fell right down the drain. And they were like, people are not going to pay money to play this. You know, if they're losing their first quarter by not getting it to play right. So they didn't make it. They decided not to make it. So there was only 10 that were out there. There's only 4 that are known that are still in existence, and ours is the only one that's in a public place that you can actually put your hands on it and play.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's sweet to have, and we get a lot of people that come out to see it, but then when they see it, then they play it and they're like, man, this sucks.
Chris,
do you have a collector's that one? Oh, I'm sorry, Eric. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you can go ahead. No, I was going to say that. What's the TV show that used your place, Chris?
Mindhunter.
So
Oh,
Mindhunter shot episodes of the show.
Not in my place. What Mindhunter did, and boy, you want to talk about a nice profit. Mindhunter came in, and they were shooting in Pittsburgh. They shot the scenes, or some scenes, in Pittsburgh, and they came in, and the time period that they were shooting Mindhunter was 1981. So they came in and they went through our whole collection, and they picked out like 30 machines that all fit the timeline for the scene, and they rented the machines from us for they rented 30 machines for $1,000 each. So they gave us 30 grand, and so for they took the machines for a month. So, and again, they wrote us a nice fat $30,000 check, and we were stoked. We're like, yes, this is great. So fast forward, we get the movie comes out, or the Mindhunter comes out. Our games are in 14 seconds of the show.
Oh,
so they paid $30,000 for 14 seconds of our machines. And I was like, okay. And nobody ever complained once. And we've had conversations with that production company. They're going to use us again, probably in either 13 or 14.
Yeah, you think Stranger Things or something would want to do something like that, right?
Well, it's, you know what, man, it just comes down to having the originals. They could probably have gone and made boxes that looked like the originals, but they want it to be authentic. And collector guy, you know how movie guys are. Movie guy sees anything wrong, they'll be like, wait a minute, this is supposed to be June of 81, and that machine came out in August of 81.
And speaking of which, historically, was it the 1950s that the first pinball machines came out or became popular?
Somewhere in there, yeah. And they were all
legal. So you figure any movies coming out 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s that they want to be nostalgic, that's a pretty big 40-year period worth of movies that could be coming to you for.
Yeah, and we're there. We're certainly willing to help them.
Yep.
But yeah,
do you let people play the games that you're going to sell, or do you put those separate?
Well, we don't really sell. We're more of an arcade. We're definitely more of an arcade. I mean, my partner Ed, he has a side business that he sells some machines, but we don't put them on the floor to sell them. I mean, We want to be an arcade. We don't want to be
Do you buy them? Do you buy them from people?
I've bought them. I've bought plenty, and boy, that's, as Scott, who's sitting there with a Metallica in his room, will tell you, that's not cheap.
Right. God, I got a good story about that.
Yeah, it's
that was a late night buy, by the way, and I didn't tell the wife.
Oh,
and they put that thing on a pallet, 18-wheeler, like lowering it down, and my wife's like, I'm trying to take it off the pallet around the house without her finding out in the dead of summer. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Did you buy it new or from somebody?
It was brand new, but I'm trying to remember who it was from, but it was nuts.
Oh boy, your wife must have been furious.
Yeah, she didn't know for a while. Like I rolled it around the house, and I'm just dripping with sweat, and trying to get in the house.
I know this. Yeah. Those machines new, any machine new, that is not the kind of thing that the wife is like, okay, that's a little expensive. That's the kind of thing that any wife is going to be like, what the hell are you doing?
Well, this is when I took care of the finances. So it was a little different. I couldn't do that now. Like now it's changed.
Yeah, now she'd look at
why.
Yeah. Now she'd look at it, she'd be like, $9,000. What are you doing?
She's like, why do we have any money? I'm like, I have no clue.
I don't know, but this pinball machine rules.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that's I got that crash course with we bought the for Pinball PA, we bought the Iron Maiden, the limited edition Iron Maiden. So, we bought the one that they just didn't produce a ton of, and it was $12,000. And I just was like, wow.
Is it because they use it to make money that they got a tax you on it up front? It couldn't possibly cost $12,000.
No, it don't cost that much to make them. But
why are they so expensive? That's
because you're going to make money on it, probably.
Well, and
coins in it,
and because there's not a lot of people making them. That's really what it comes down to. You've got Stern. Them? No, I haven't. It's not. Look, I have enough trouble keeping the business that I have with pinball alive. I'm not considering building machines. But and there's reasons that they cost as much. Like Metallica, first thing you got to look at on that, there's licensing upon licensing upon licensing on that. That side green that you're looking there, that's one logo license. If you look at the top on the play face there's a different Metallica logo that has to have another license. Then there's the imaging of the guys that's on the machine that has to have another license. Then there's 60 songs, I think, on that machine.
Oh, yeah.
60 songs. Yeah. Every one of those songs has to be licensed. That's before you build the machine. That's just when you have an idea. You have to do all that licensing before you ever drop a silver ball on a piece of wood.
Wow.
I understand the cost. I certainly don't think that it's worth $12,000. Maybe half would be realistic.
What does a slot machine cost, do you think? Like a video poker machine or slot machine?
Well, I can tell you what a video poker machine costs too, because I have a couple of those.
All right.
Those are about $3,500.
Oh, okay.
Those aren't too bad but then again, that's a whole different set of rules. You save on the buying of the equipment, but boy, do you get drilled. You get drilled by the tax man for gambling.
Right.
That's a whole nother. This borough and this town and this city and this municipality, they all want their cut of every quarter that goes into that stupid thing.
So where you live, you could potentially have someone play a video poker machine because of where you're located. Because a lot of states you wouldn't be able to do that unless it was like an Indian reservation.
Yeah. Up in in our plaza, there's actually a place with like 15 machines or something in it. People just come in there and play, drop their money in and lose it.
Don't tell Pearson about that.
Nice. Well, dude, Scott, it sounds like you got a lot of great stuff coming in 2023. And obviously, if we can help in any way, I'm glad to help, man, because I love what you do. And
thank you so much.
I'm not just ass kissing. I really do. Every time you drop an episode, that's an hour of my day taken.
Wow, man, that means a lot. Yeah. I got a couple more. Yeah.
no, I just was going to say, I really enjoy what you're doing. And I think that fans of music, and especially the era of music that you cover, there's nobody doing it better. So you should definitely, dig in and learn about the bands that you want to learn about. So where should we tell people to go just to refresh everybody's memory?
Well, first of all, I'm on all social medias. So if you go under Instagram, even Twitter, which I don't use that often, Facebook and YouTube, if you just go under Good Company with Bowling, BOWLING, it'll pop up.
Okay.
And speaking of, like, we're talking about 2023, like going on location, it seems like to get Chris on the show, I'm going to have to go on location.
Yeah, well, come on.
I would show up your house, but hey, you're on Good Company, Chris.
We're talking about Chris's birthday, doing a Chris birthday bash because it might be the last year that he's here on Earth. So we thought we should all converge onto Pinball PA and just throw a big bash this 2023.
You should get Stephen Piercy to sing him happy birthday. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Stephen would probably do it.
Yeah.
He probably would. He'd be like, he would definitely come up. He'd be all amped up on coffee. Just, hey, brother, happy birthday, bro.
It's October, did you say? I forgot when you said your birthday.
My birthday's in October, but
mine is too, man. When's your birthday?
27.
Nice.
No.
Libras. We're Libras. But thanks for having me on your show, man. This is really cool.
Was definitely fun, man. And,
Eric's the man.
And no, Scott's the man here with the Good Company with Scott Bowling. It is out there. You should definitely check it out. And dude, I think we're gonna take a break here, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap it up with some airline hell stories from Erik. But Scott, thanks so much for joining us, man. And anytime, man. Door's always open.
It was an honor. Thank you, guys.
All right, guys. Well, let's take a little break, and we'll be right back with Chris Akin Presents.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The Sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
And we are back. It is Chris Akin Presents with me, Chris Akin, and Mr. Erik Ferentinos. And dude, Scott made you a new friend, right?
Yeah, he's way cool.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man. And I am a definite fan. Now that he's not here, I'll say it again so it doesn't sound like I was ass kissing. I am a definite fan of Good Company with Bowling. It's a really, really well done show, and I don't even want to.
Damn good lighting on that show. Like the clip you showed, I was like, "Holy crap,
dude!" It is a.
Like
I mean, it's a show. It's a show, and I can easily see if he doesn't care about how much money he's if he doesn't overcharge it like certain other guys that we were talking about for half that interview, but if he doesn't overcharge for it and he just delivers them a show, for a decent amount of money, I could totally see Access or, Tubi, or honestly, any of the free ones, Tubi, Roku channel, Pluto, they are all screaming for content right now. They all are looking for content. And to do something at that level that he does it at, if he can produce it weekly, he could definitely get. It's a lot of work. I'm not going to lie and say it's not a lot of work, but it would benefit him greatly. And I think he could really, really get in there because he's already got the product together. It's not like most shows where you come in with an idea and then they got to hire a producer, a lighting tech, a camera guy, sound engineer, a script writer, a makeup art. He's got all that shit already together.
He's right there. He's right on the cusp.
He's right on the cusp. So if he asks me, I will definitely put him in contact with some people, and no guarantees of anything. I don't, just because
we'll have our
know
people talk to his people.
That's right. Well, when I talk to people, like do like the Eddie Trunk thing.
Yep.
When I talk to my people that I know over at Access TV, they will listen because I am the great Chris Akin. It's like,
that's right.
That's right. Well, apparently you are not the great Erik Ferentinos when it comes to flying.
Wow. That's the truth.
How's that for a segue?
That is a segue. Whoa. How was Southwest Airlines, Chris, in the news this past 2 weeks with the holiday? How many people's Christmas
was wrecked?
Was totally ruined by Southwest Airlines. This was an airline, by the way, that for so long was so great for different reasons that people would expect. I mean, they are a stripped down airline. They were always the most affordable. They were the biggest employer of the gay community out there. But it was a good thing. It was a good thing because the gays that worked at Southwest made it awesome. You know what I mean? They were a lot of fun, and they made what would generally be like a cattle on a plane actually tolerable with their humor and things like that. And over the years, I enjoyed it. Plus, one of their biggest selling points was 2 free checked bags.
Right. Sure.
Okay. Well, I bought a guitar case for my Charvels. That's an ATA airline, whatever transmissions.
Right. Transportation approved.
Transportation. Yeah. Airport transportation approved. Thank you, Chris.
Okay.
I bought one of these. It was an expensive case. It's from Enki.
Okay.
ENKI, by the way, which Enki, just for a little historical reference, is the god that told Moses to build the ark. Or not Moses, but Noah.
Noah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Moses didn't listen really well to that fucking request, did he?
No, he was like, "What? Part of the seas? Excuse me." Yeah. No,
it's like I don't need a boat. I can just walk across this bitch.
Right. So exactly, he doesn't need a ship. So Noah to build the ark for like the end times, if you will. Right. So this case, that was the reference. So this case was designed to withstand the end times. Okay. And it has all the flight stuff so that they can, the TSA can get into it and all the correct locks and all this. Well, they've just Southwest Airlines on the last couple times I've flown for them have wanted to charge me $75 each way to take my case, which is
to take your guitar.
Yeah, my guitar, man, my tool. They have these ridiculous ways of measuring this stuff. But as you can see there on the oversized Southwest baggage area there, that is my case. And you can see, I mean, it's not small, but it's not huge either.
It's no bigger than a lot of suitcases that come through there.
That's right. I mean, so these people, so many people are taking their golf clubs. I don't know if you happen to get that other photo.
I have it. No, I have it.
Okay. This gentleman here is carrying not 1, but 2 golf club bags.
Yeah.
Okay. The same type of setup with the wheels on it, and he's carrying them away there. I asked that gentleman, I go, "Sir, excuse me, how much did Southwest charge you for those?" He goes, "What? They didn't charge me anything." It's like, it was free. You get 2 free check bags. And I'm going, why the hell are they treating me like this? I mean, and so this has been happening going to Vegas, San Diego to Vegas. They've been doing this to me. And one thing I referenced earlier about, the gays that work there, all those cool people are freaking gone now. Okay. The only people that are left are the bootlickers that took the shot and kept the job and just do whatever their overlords tell them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And don't care and don't have the ability to think for themselves of how ridiculous they're being. That's all that's left there. And it's just, it's progressively disgusted me. you know, as each
Right.
time I have to fly, like they treat me this way. Because for one, okay, so you're charging me $75 because it's a guitar and you have to treat it differently. They don't treat it any differently. They throw
Right.
it with the oversized shit. It's going with the strollers. It's going with the golf clubs. And when it gets off in Las Vegas, it's coming straight off with everybody else's shit.
Yeah.
So there's nothing that they are doing differently than screwing me $75 each way. So for me to go play a gig, now I got to pay $150 to have my guitar go out with me. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
This has happened twice now. So I was going to make a pretty big deal about it. I actually complained to them on this last trip, and I was saying how the CEO should step down, man. You know, and then Christmas comes and they just have like the worst meltdown ever. Like,
Right.
so much damage has been caused by Southwest Airlines at this point that it kind of just dwarfed my problem. You know what I mean? I was just trying to
Yes
think.
and no. I don't agree really with that. I mean, I agree that they had a big problem, but the reason they had a big problem is because they treat people like you the way they did. You know,
Right.
dude, let's be honest. They're treating you that way because you got a fucking mohawk.
So
They think you're a fucking degenerate.
that's very perceptive of you, that analysis. However, I experimented, and just recently, this last time I went, I threw on a hat just to see if it was, you know, imagine that, me working for you.
Yeah,
You know,
but
did the hat thing. She was equally as big a bitch as the one was the first time around, and I can't for the life of me understand their reasoning or their logic. But I'll walk up and I already self-tagged my shit. I like go in and it's making their job easier. I go up to the kiosk, I spit out the checked bag thing for them. My case, by the way, just for the listeners at home, it's less than 51 inches high. Okay, and weighs about 45 pounds. So
Okay.
it is well under the 50-pound mark.
Sure.
This thing is designed to be as easy as possible for the airlines to move around. They never really have to lift it. It rolls. It can withstand the end
Sure.
times, as we referenced earlier.
Mhm.
You don't have to you could treat this like anything else, but they're designed to treat me this way, and I don't know what I'm going to do, man, you know, to be honest, because it's a lose-lose situation. This would have actually taken down the insurance claims for the airline if they just accepted this case, because they would never have a problem with it. But now
Right.
I'm going to be forced to like take a soft case on board and inconvenience the staff taking it on board and having to go, you gotta let me on early and I got to get this in there, and they're gonna go, that's
Yeah.
not gonna fit, and all
Well,
this
tough
bullshit.
shit.
I can't win.
No, you can win by absolutely telling them when they give you the bitching, tell them to go fuck themselves. The reason I'm doing that is because you're charging me 150 fucking bucks to do it the proper way.
Right. These confrontations, my friend, have happened many times. You know, I just want to say I have had over the last 22 years my share of fucking
I'm sure.
meltdowns. Yeah,
I'm
everything. I mean, meltdowns with the TSA grabbing my nuts to meltdowns over my baggage. You know what I mean? I have no problem making the biggest scene you've ever witnessed anywhere. It doesn't work though. It's like nothing works with them. You know what I mean? There's nobody cool left at Southwest Airlines. Honestly, they need to fire everyone. They need to fire everyone that is currently working at Southwest Airlines. The CEO needs to step down in shame over everything that just happened.
Right.
And then they need to hire back every gay person that they let go and give them a big raise and say, please come back and save our airline. That's what I think they should do. And stop charging me for my guitar. If they see guitar, how many guitar players are they even dealing with the millions of travelers that they have? How many professional guitar players are they dealing with? A hundred? You know?
I wonder if maybe that's it. Maybe they look at the fact that you're a musician as a fucking negative. There's got to be a
you're going to
reason.
work. We're gonna tax you because you're about to go
Yeah.
make some money. We want 10%.
There's got to be a reason that they look at you and they fucking charge you the $75, but they look at that guy that looks like he's, you know, just walked out of a board meeting and now he's going to, you know, knock down 18 with the CIO. You know, that's
Bingo.
That's what
this
it
guy
is.
didn't pay for his ticket. His work paid for it, and he's just going on some freaking golf trip. You know,
Yeah.
like me, this is my only time I'm making money is when I go play a show, and you're gonna do that to me, and know that it's not my company necessarily paying these fees. Yes, I'm not gonna, lie. I don't pay for my ticket. Steven pays for my airline ticket, but all these extra fees he's not paying for, you know what I mean? I'm paying for those, and when it starts to be a couple $100 every time I fly out, like if I do, a couple hundred flights a year, what am I supposed to be paying 10 grand in baggage fees?
Yeah,
It's
well, and that's
ridiculous.
I mean, and that's the crazy part about this thing, dude, is that, maybe they don't think it's a big deal at $75 a hit, but let's be honest. It ain't like your name ain't Stephen Piercy, so you're not the one getting the big check.
Right.
You're getting the check that $150 out of it is like, that fucking sucks.
Right. I want to ask the airline, ticket person, how would you like if we took $75 out of your paycheck today, bitch?
Yeah.
How would you like that?
How much did you pay to park, you cunt?
Right.
How much did you pay to park at the airport? Was it $75? Well, fuck you, because that's what I just paid to park my ass.
Like I don't think she's understanding how ridiculous that is. Like even after Southwest, say you have a third bag, a third big fucking bag, that would be like $35. They're charging me like if I brought 4 huge bags, or something like. And it's the weird way that they measure things. They like not just measure it up, they'll like measure it up with and like say when they're done with that, somehow they're coming up with that. It's, oh, you're already at 54. This is, we got it. They pull out the tape measure, they rip my tag off the bag and try to, shame me and, but
that makes no sense though, because you bought a piece of equipment, the carry box, the box,
right, to
whatever that thing's
protect
called.
me and the airline. Both of us are protected with that.
And you bought it under their kind of guise. Really, it's
right.
It's not like you just bought it so you'd have this cool box. You bought it because it's like the best way per their guidance.
That's right. So now I'm going to be forced to take a soft case. I'm going to have to take it on board. And that's the only legal protection I have, is that there was a law passed where they have to accommodate a musician's guitar if it's in a soft case. They have to make a fair attempt at getting it on the plane. So now at 50 years old, I gotta lug around this soft case with 2 freaking guitars in it that probably weighs close to 50 pounds. And all our gates are miles apart, and it's just going to be a pain in the ass. And I just think it's stupid. And I'm going to keep busting your balls, Southwest Airlines, because I have a voice now through the Chris Akin Presents podcast.
There you go.
And I'm not going to let this go.
I don't blame you, dude. The fact that somebody can bring on their fucking their spiritual monkey to fucking help them cope with a goddamn flight, and you can't bring your goddamn tools for work without paying for it, fuck off. That's ridiculous.
It's like Southwest Airlines is telling me one thing here. Southwest Airlines doesn't like music.
Yeah.
What do you think of that, Chris?
They're also telling you to fly Delta. That's really what they're saying.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I do fly Delta and I love Delta. And let me tell you, after flying Delta, you don't want to fly any other airline because they have like a TV in the back of the seat. I mean, it keeps you entertained. You can watch the newest movies. I see cool movies all the time. Southwest is just trashy people, man. I mean, the last flight I got was charged at $75. Vegas flights are trashy as hell, man. The ones from San Diego to Vegas, these are just trashy ass people going to Vegas, like tourists and stuff. And the way Southwest works is it's general admission, as you know. So everybody just takes the aisle in the window seats, and it's just empty middle seats going all the way down. Well, for me, a frequent traveler, if I have to take Southwest, I certainly don't want to go to the back of the freaking plane. I want to go to the closest to the front of the plane where my shit is going to fit above the seat. And I don't care if it's in the middle. I just want to get off that plane as soon as possible. So I was about like halfway down the thing, and I see a woman and an old lady in the window seat and a woman in the aisle. And I go, excuse me, I'm gonna go ahead and sit there, because there was enough, room for my bag up above. And she just looks at me and doesn't move. And I go, excuse me, because I didn't want to like stick my ass in her face. You know what I mean?
Right.
To go, well, I'm not above doing that, but I didn't want to come out doing that. So I said to her again, I'm like, ma'am, can I go ahead and sit there? And then she like barely like moved her knee over like a little bit. And she's like, well, go like that.
Ugh.
And I go, it just was the wrong time to do that to me. You know what I mean? Like that after all of the shit I'd been through and lack of sleep and everything. I sit down, I go, and I was like, geez, sorry I put you out there, lady. I sat down or something like that. And she's like, well, there's plenty of other seats back there. You didn't have to sit here. It's like, holy
honey,
shit, bitch. I go, fuck that. And I got all loud and shit. Again, I told you, I'll go Jersey on your shit real quick. You know what I mean? I go, I don't give a shit. I'll sit wherever I want. And now I regret that. I'm like, I should have kept my fucking cool. It just been funny or something. The lady next to me turned out to be her mom, which made it really kind of awkward. But later, I actually was like trying to be really nice to her mom. Like she was a bitch. She actually, the lady next to me, decided then she was going to talk over me to talk to her mother the whole flight. So, mom, they told me that I could come in on Tuesday to do that, whatever. And she's like talking in my face and shit. I'm not into masks and everything, but I'm also not into you talking in my fucking face.
Yeah, exactly.
You are, people. I don't need to talk to you. But anyways, she was talking over me, which is even worse. She's not even talking to me. She's talking to this person, but she's trying to her mom. At some point, her mom was looking like she was having trouble opening her bag of chips or whatever. And I was like, would you like me to help open those for you? And she's like, oh no, I think I'm just gonna save them for later. I'm like, okay, let me know if I can help you with that. I will, because I'm nice to her because she didn't do anything, and I actually felt bad. I didn't know I was yelling at her daughter. I didn't want to scare this old lady or whatever, but her daughter was trashy as hell, and I just had to like put her in the plate or something. And then I just, this was luckily a short flight. It's only like a 40-minute flight. So
still doesn't matter. You still shouldn't have to be fucking uncomfortable on a flight. Why should you accept that?
Chad Moore says the cost of your guitar's travel expense should be built into Piercy's guarantee. It's part of the business. Well, somewhat true, but I mean, if there's any way that I could have avoided that, then it's my problem, and it can be avoided if I lug my shit on my back.
And let's be honest, and again, I'm not justifying this. I'm just being real about this. The last thing in the world that's going on in a touring band is super critical isolation of expenditures. You guys will definitely keep track of your big expenses, but nobody's saying, hey, I spent $8 at Burger King. Can I get reimbursed for that?
Say that? There are people that do that, and it's I would suggest we have Chris tips. We had Chris tips earlier. Erik tips for the up and coming musician. Choose your battles. Pick your battles wisely when it comes to that. Don't come to your first national gig asking to be reimbursed for your Starbucks you got at the airport or some shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, if it's like a hotel room on the road and you'd want to get reimbursed if for some reason you had to pay for that. And I do believe that the employer should pay for the airline ticket, but aside from that, you should probably buy your own stuff. There was a time when like the per diems flowed like water, but those days are kind of over. I haven't had per diem in a good amount of time. I just
now per diem means that you get a styrofoam with a hamburger in it. At the gig. Here you go.
Well, that is part of it. If you're frugal enough, you don't spend anything. You just starve yourself. So maybe you can lose 2 pounds before the show. You just wait till right before the gig, and then they have the rider there, and you can start eating some fruit tray, deli tray and shit. Don't spend any money. They have to. The venue does in the contract have to give us a buyout or provide a catered experience, if you will. And so you can get away with not spending money. Eating
those nights
stuff.
those nights that you don't eat before the show, you come out and you just play your ass off because you're so fucking mad and hungry and angry.
Hangry, exactly.
Yeah, you're hangry. Somebody throws a Snickers bar at you and then you play a ballad.
No, the one thing that was interesting, and a show you probably didn't get a chance to see, but I think I threw you a photo of the name of this Hulu show. That
this spins
back to the luggage thing, and I found this show kind of interesting, and it's on Hulu, and I think it's called Inside.
It's called Inside Airport Lost and Found.
Inside Airport Lost and Found, and this is on Hulu, and it was kind of interesting because first of all, I'm going like, who doesn't ultimately go after their bag or claim their bag,
Right.
you know? And I mean, I was just trying to think of the situations where somebody, because generally the airline will get it to you. You know, you go ahead and give them the number or whatever of your little baggage claim ticket, and they'll actually fly it to wherever it goes and have a driver like drive it to you,
Right.
wherever that may be. You know, so I was surprised that they would ever have unclaimed baggage out there. So I was thinking, man, it must be like a lot of situations where it's maybe illegal activity is left behind or something like that. And sure enough, you know, there was some interesting insights to the show. Like when they go through like what they do to identify whose bag it is, sometimes it's easy for them to do, but then they have to, of course, investigate a little bit.
Right.
And they actually have like, you know, police officers at every airport, and that's their whole job, is to go through people's shit. And they do it like, it was funny because during the show they make it sound like they're doing it so they could possibly find out who it belongs to, you know.
Right.
They're just good Samaritans, you know, but these guys are like looking to solve crimes and stuff. This guy's like breaking into the people's phones in there. He's breaking into their iPads or laptops. I mean, they get a lot of stuff on this show, and they do make attempts to try to put it with the people. And I bet you, I mean, there's so many scummy people out there, man, you know,
Right.
that they probably do have kiddie porn and who knows on their shit, and they just leave it behind. They go, oh shit, I'm not going to come claim that, you know. And this guy's job is just to bust these people, I would imagine, you know. They use all the forensic stuff, you know, FBI kind of shit to
Right.
crack into this stuff. Now, if they can't put it or find out who it belongs to, there's a store in Alabama that sells all this stuff, and it's pretty amazing. Like you
Okay.
can actually go online, and they even have like an online store, and they got probably the thing they have the most of is cell phones that have been left behind,
Right.
like iPhones and Galaxies and stuff like
Sure.
that.
Mhm.
And there's some deals on them, but you know, yeah, they've gone through and unlocked all of these. You know, they're not just handing
Sure.
you somebody's phone. They've gotten all the evidence off all these things, and then they're reselling them at this store. And anybody can go online. I should have probably had that prepared of what this store is called, but it's
Yeah.
it's the only one of its kind. Like if you look at like unclaimed baggage, I think the place might be called
Unclaimed.
Unclaimed Baggage Store, and you can
Okay.
just Unclaimed Baggage Online Store. If you were to look that up, Google or what have you, that would take you to this. It's like a thrift store, but it's really tight. I mean, everything almost looks new. They give away all the crappy shit to the Salvation Army type places and thrift stores. Now, anything that's like high value, they automatically segregate it, you know, to be profiteered later.
Jesus, this is fucked. I'm looking at the website right now. This is fucked.
Are you able to pull it up at all for
Yeah,
anybody?
yeah, I'm gonna pull it up right now. Hold on.
Okay. I was intrigued by all this. You know, Chris and I will always try to let you guys know if there's interesting shows out there. And if you're somebody who travels and you ever wondered, you know, what happens to some of this stuff, eventually, if it was worth anything, it'll end up at a place like this. It looks like this might be a different one, but the same premise.
Well, it says it's the only one. It's the nation's only retailer of lost luggage.
It does say it's the only one. That must be it. Okay.
And then here's the new arrivals.
Oh,
here's the new arrivals.
What do you think? The first pair?
Dude, it's like this shit was just ripped out of somebody's suitcase yesterday.
He ripped that right off of some girl's ass that set the detector off at TSA.
Yeah, it's not new. It's just fucking new.
Well, you're going to the shitty shit. You need to go to like the electronics.
All right, let's find some. Here's tablets.
Yeah. Start going there.
All right, look at this.
Get an idea of what kind of price break you can get on this.
It's not that much cheaper.
That's what I kind of said too. I was like, wow, they really are flying.
$579 for a 4th gen iPad.
Right?
That's a little steep.
Especially since nowadays with like Verizon or any of these companies, you could do like an interest-free pay plan where you hardly feel that shit on your bill. You know what I mean? For like $5 extra a month, you have a brand new iPad. So they do need to come down.
I'd be a little leery of buying any kind of electronic from this. If somebody didn't go back to claim their iPad, I got to think there's child porn or something that's been distributed on that iPad.
Right.
Last thing I need is the FBI showing up at my door saying, "Hey, let us see what's on that iPad."
Oh my God. I know, right? See, I don't have to worry about that kind of shit. Like the only thing they're gonna find on mine is like MILFs and stuff, like older bitches.
Yeah. Hey, I'll find it on mine, dude.
Well, this brings us to our next topic, right? Because there's another movie that you haven't watched yet, but you're going to.
Not yet, but let's do one more and we'll wrap it up because my throat's going. But
no worries. So the other one is called Border, and I was watching this last night, and we were watching that on. Was I watching it on HBO Max? I think. Was it on HBO Max? Maybe.
That's what you said. Yeah.
Okay. So this movie is called Border, and it's a Swedish movie. Okay, so it has subtitles, but don't let that frighten you, because this is one of the most unique films I've ever seen, and it involves trolls. Believe it or not, I don't want to spoil it too much. If we end up finding the picture with the cover,
I'm pulling it up right now.
Before your throat gives out.
I'm pulling it right up here. Wow.
Right.
Wow.
So when we get this going, you'll see the main star here that intrigued me when I was like, what the hell am I looking at here? You know, it's a woman with the security guard. She kind of looks like the Geico caveman. Here we go. Thank you, Chris. Now, is this intriguing or what? You're like, okay, what's going on with her? And you kind of get almost Mask vibes looking at this.
Yeah.
No, even though this is not in English, it's subtitles. You get sucked in pretty quick because this kicks off at an airport or border situation, and she's kind of like a TSA type person, and her job is just to sit there and sniff passengers as they walk by, because she has an uncanny ability to sniff fear, shame, and hatred. She can sense those three things. She could smell it on anybody, and those people typically have something on them that they're smuggling or what have you. And she's very effective at her job. And so as she walks by with that face, she's always like, sniffing people, and it's like, holy shit. And she's like, excuse me, come here. And then typically they do have like child porn on their stuff. She could smell the shame of their actions and stuff.
Shame.
Right. So she has kind of a sad life in this. She, her relationship is weird. She just most has kind of a guy that lives there, but they don't really have sex. And, he's, I think, seeing other people, but he just sponges off her, but she's lonely. So she has him there. And one day at the airport, another person like her comes walking through, and she sniffs him. She's like, and they start sniffing each other, and then it's like kind of weird love story unfolds, right? And they're getting to know each other, and there's some irony in this movie, and I don't want to spoil the whole thing, but there is some weird shit that happens in here. There's troll sex that happens here. And
well, just looking at this picture, you got to watch that fuck.
Yes. Not only that, I want to spoil one thing. You actually have to watch, like, okay, this is somewhat of a spoil, so turn this off if you don't want to hear this one part. But with these trolls, apparently the female troll is the one that has the and the man troll is the one that has the so that makes for a weird scenario, and you actually have to watch this one.
Wow.
Get a weird erection. Sorry, Mom.
Great.
You're watching.
Great.
Yeah. So I don't know. I had to tell you a little bit because this is something that some people might skip, and I don't think you should, because there's so many reboots these days, and just stupid movies out there that I have to give kudos when a director puts out a movie that actually is unique and cool and interesting and not even in my native language. And here we watched the whole thing and it was funky as hell, but I hope you guys enjoy it. Look for this.
All right. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna watch it. Border. Oh my God. Ugh, I don't know about watching that fuck though. Oof. I like porn. I don't know that I can. I don't know that I'm gonna like this porn.
Well, this is a fucked up movie, but it's not fucked. Like, I hate movies where people are getting tortured or, you know.
Yeah.
They do go after some pedophiles in this, so they do allude to some activity like that, but it's not like you have to see somebody being hurt that way, you know. So I appreciate that personally. But I love a weird movie.
Each other. Yeah, just trolls fucking each other. It's all
some
good.
troll fucking, Chris. You can set aside some time for that.
I can handle that. And I think on that note, that's a great place to end this episode of Chris Akin Presents. Wow. Definitely want to thank our friend Scott Bowling for jumping in. Good Company with Bowling. Scott Good Company website, scottgoodcompany.com. Check that out. Eric, any gigs this week or nothing? Or
yeah, you know, our next gigs, we have gigs coming up this month, and they are in Tempe, Arizona, and Coachella, California. We got some shows with Vince Neil happening. And I should have those nearby, and I don't.
I'm looking too.
A couple weeks away.
I was asked a question about one of your gigs. Do you know the Mohegan Sun, what time the gig is?
Okay, that I don't know yet. We should ask Jason Green that. Tell him to forward his questions to Wasting Time with Jason Green.
Okay.
He's a tour manager for Stephen Piercy, for those that don't know. And so until he tells me, I have no idea. He advances the shows and finds that stuff out.
All right. Well, then we'll find it out. And when we find it out, we'll put it out there, because he's wherever he's at, he's driving 11 hours. So he doesn't want to get there too early or too late. He wants to see you and Piercy.
Oh, that's nice. Well, he's going out to a great place. That Mohegan Sun's like an awesome casino. I don't know if he's the guy's been out there before or not, but what an amazing place that is. It's a whole like mini Vegas there in Connecticut.
Yep. So that's where you'll be. I will be right here, as I always am. You know, I'll be doing what I always do, watching TV, watching movies,
holding down the fort. He's holding down the fort.
Yeah. Working on getting these podcasts all to mass audiences. That's my job here. So that's going to do it for this episode of Chris Akin Presents. Eric, as always, thank you, sir. And,
thank you, Chris.
And until next time, let me get to the right screen so I can push the right button. But that's going to do it. So for Chris Akin Presents, I have been Chris Akin.
And I'm Erik Ferentinos.
And we will see you next Monday. See ya.